Money doesn't just come from one place. It drips, trickles, flows, and floods into our lives in different ways. Welcome to Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, a podcast that explores the power of multiple income streams. We've got merch. That's right. Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood t-shirts are officially here, and they're as comfy as they are conversation starting. Grab yours at the link in our show notes. All right, everyone. We have a good guest with us today. So we have Kristen Armstrong. She is the owner of Ensemble Consignment Boutique. Anytime I can talk style, I'm very excited. So thank you to Lindsay, who is Tony's wonderful wife, for introducing us to Kristen. And welcome, Kristen. I'm so excited to have you and learn more about your background.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be asked to be a guest on here with you guys.
Yeah. Hi, Kristen. Hopefully we get a lot of listens to this and results in a giant sponsorship. So Lindsay can keep buying a lot of clothes from you.
Yes, I think we could make that happen. Win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Pay it forward. All right, Kristen. So you have, remind me where your shops are. So it's Nashville and what's the other location?
So my flagship, I would call it my bread and butter store, is in Charleston, South Carolina. And then I have a second location in Nashville, Tennessee, specifically West Nashville, the Nations area. And I'm working on Austin, Texas for my third location.
Oh my God. So, okay.
Yeah.
So we have a third store coming. You heard it here first. Maybe not first, but heard it here before it exists. Okay. But this is very interesting to me because you did not start in fashion. You started in banking.
I didn't.
So please tell us a little bit about that and like how that journey happened, that you would go from banking and fashion, which are two such wildly different worlds.
Yeah. So when I moved to Charleston in 2004, I randomly walked into a Bank of America to open a checking account because, when you move to a new city, you have to have somewhere that banks everywhere. And I got talked into applying for a job as a teller. I had moved to Charleston, was going to finish college at College of Charleston. I surprisingly never finished college. I was a business major, didn't finish, got a job at the bank. Worked for 6 years doing different things. I was a teller, a personal banker, which I really thrived. And I learned all the basics that you need to know for sales, customer relationships. People would come in, a client would come in for a overdraft fee and they'd leave with a savings account and apply for a mortgage and a credit card, all these things. Like I just learned how to really just hone in on what people needed to make their life easier. I went to the mortgage department and then I ended at Merrill Lynch and I was just like, what am I doing? I have always had like a fashion bug to me, like where I just really want to dress funky and find the really coolest pieces and not look like everybody else. And it kind of was just a random outing one night and some girlfriends of mine, we were hanging out and they said, why don't you open up a consignment store? You love looking different. You love thrifting. You love clothes. And I was like, I don't know anything about running a business. And literally within a month, I put my 2-week notice in. I took $5,000 out of my savings account. I bought everything I needed from Craigslist, because that's when Craigslist was a thing. Racks and displays and any kind of fixtures. And I signed a lease on an old Sprint store. And that was my first location. And I made it there 6 years before I finally moved downtown Charleston. But I took all of that knowledge that I gained from being in the banking world, and Bank of America really is a big corporate entity. And so I was able to benefit from that and learn, how to cultivate those relationships, how to talk to people, hone in on what they needed, what brought you in today. So that's how my little boutique got started. Everybody thought I was crazy.
Yeah. And I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little bit of crazy, but that's okay.
You do. You have to take risks.
Yep, absolutely. So did that, being in the financial world there, did that foundation of that knowledge, has that helped you as you got into, besides the personal stuff, but just like seeing what other people had done, seeing their bank accounts, seeing their numbers, understanding that side of things, is that translated?
Yes, 100%, because a lot of really thrived in the personal banking role that I held, and just helping the same clients every week, a lot of which were small business owners in the community, knowing what they were going through and looking at trends that they had, business up and down. It really taught me a lot about that, that life and being an entrepreneur and like what business owners, at the time I had no idea I would be a business owner, but it was a little bit of foreshadowing because I was able to see what we go through. It's a roller coaster. It's never, even 15 years into it, I never know what the next day is going to bring.
So I know a little bit about the retail world because Lindsay had an online clothing business and did pop up and stuff, but it was all new. It was all new clothes. So how are you sourcing the clothes? I mean, Lindsay's always telling me how much money she saved by buying clothes from you because you find like this great. So she's like, it was never even worn before, and I got it. So how are you sourcing this stuff? And then obviously to be able to open up these other stores, I mean, you must have a product that people want.
Yeah. So I'm a true believer in don't be complacent and always ask for the business. So when I go out in the world, if I go out to dinner with friends or if I'm going to a function, you better believe I'm taking business cards, or I actually had stickers made that it's like a little picture of me, like cartoon looking, with my hashtags on there, my ensemble Instagram accounts. And so if someone approaches me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love your outfit," I would never think to put that together because I do tend to dress very bold and wild and out there. Then I ask for the business, "Hey, come see me. Would love to help you shop. Would love your business as a client for closet cleanouts." I will say that I'm not a big proponent of advertising. I just think it's a lot of money for a little bit of return. And that was one of the things that someone told me when I first opened Ensemble was word of mouth is your best form of advertising. And I truly believe that. I think that if you give someone a great experience, they're going to go tell other people and it's going to come back to you. Oh my gosh, my friend so and so was just in and she said you helped her find all these really cool outfits. So I had to come see you. So I really do think it's how you treat your client, how you form those relationships, and then just asking for the business. Literally, I'm never afraid to ask somebody, I love your outfit. I love your vibe. Where do you consign at? It's almost like, where do you bank at? Where do you dry clean at? I'm asking for the business, and where do you take your clothes that you're not wearing?
And Kristen, that's very cool, by the way. You don't just have local business. I mean, Tony's wife, like Tony, his wife, we all live across the country, like
Right,
clear
right.
across the country. So then how are you reaching someone like Lindsay? And is this common for you to be reaching people all over the United States and even beyond that?
I would say I attribute it to a great Instagram platform. We do a lot on our social media. We sell off of there all day, every day. So I am shipping all over the US. I believe that's how Lindsay found me. We make it super easy. So if she comments on something and says, Tony, close your ears. If she's like, I want this, I'm like, cool. I've got your Venmo. I've got your address. You don't have to do anything. I literally send you a Venmo. I package it up and it shows up on your doorstep. So I think people appreciate the easiness of it and that I remember who they are. Like, I'm not going to be on there saying, wait, Lindsay, what was your last name again? Or what was your address? Like, I have all that. But I do think that Instagram is good about people just stumbling across, we do really well with our reels and our posts and our stories. And I get new followers every day. And so the beauty of that is you get a new potential client and then all their friends are potential clients. So it's just it's a great system.
And do you think that that is a better system than selling on your website? Or do you do both?
100%. I don't sell on the
Mhm.
website
Okay.
because we're singular items. I just think that I would pull my hair out. You would be literally posting an item, and if it's sold, now we've toyed around with maybe putting some of our luxury pieces on a website, just so people could see that and buy it in their own time. But because we have such quick turnaround on things and people grab and go, it's for me, it's easier just to slap it on the Instagram and try to sell it that way.
Very cool.
I mean, what
Yeah.
I'm hearing is, I mean, clothes is your product, but you could probably have anything be your product. I mean, your business is customer service.
Yes, 100%. And I have it down and I train my employees on what to do, like remember who they are, try to remember their name and face. I have kind of a weird photographic memory, so I am really good at that. And the girls that work for me are always like, how do you remember who that is? People love that. They walk in the door and I say their name and can remember what they bought the first time they came in. It's just people, you don't see that anymore.
Yeah,
So for me, it's a brand. That's our brand, is how we treat our clients.
yeah, I mean, you're relationship building, and so these people, maybe they could go find the same clothes. Like I say, a lot of the clothes she buys, she says they're brand new.
Right.
Maybe there's a price component to it, but I don't know. It's probably just because she likes interacting with you better than going to what other XYZ place. So how big is your team between the two and now looking at 3 stores?
So I have a team of, let's see, 5 in Charleston right now, and I'm getting ready to open up. Melissa, here's some more tea. I'm getting ready to open up another store in Charleston, so it's going to be more of a sister store to Ensemble. So the things that we don't take, what we're finding, the things that I don't take because they're not super name brand, we're sending it back away when that's money that could be made that people would buy. And so we're doing a sister store called Tempo. Um, and I've got a team I'm working on hiring for that. So right now, 5 in Charleston, and then I've got 2 people in Nashville plus myself. So I kind of, float around between whichever store needs me at the time.
And do you mainly focus on the store now? Kristen, you mentioned something about like closet cleanouts, I want to say. Is there other components to your business besides I'm coming to your Instagram and purchasing something, or I'm walking in your store to purchase something?
Yes. So I'd say the 2 other components would be styling, which I'll delve in that in a second,
Oh
and
God, I
then
need that. I need that. Okay. Go
and
ahead.
then pickups, which you don't see. Yeah, sure, there's some businesses that do it, but you don't see people that will come pick up bags off your porch and literally take it back to the store and do all the work for you. Nashville especially, or wherever I tend to be, what store, I get a lot of clients that come in and I'm going out of town, I'm going out of the country, I'm going to a country music gala, whatever. I need help styling myself. And a lot of women hate to shop. So here we get a lot of that. We make appointments for people to come in and then I just pull outfits together, especially, Nashville, you have a lot of like performances and like writers rounds and they want to dress really cool and unique. We don't get to do as much of it in Charleston because Charleston's store is on, I don't know if either one of you, I know Tony, you haven't been to Charleston, but if Melissa, if you've been to
I
Charleston, we're
have.
on King Street.
Oh yeah.
Wild. Like
Mhm.
on a Saturday, forget it. Like it would be hard for me to stop and like work with you specifically. Um, but we really tried, I tried to pride myself on being hands-on and helping put things in someone's dressing room that they wouldn't have picked up on their own. And odds are that's the stuff that they're gonna like. And then yeah, pickups, asking for the business. Here it's like there's so many different little areas of Nashville, and you'll have someone say, "Well, I don't really drive over to your side of town often." Cool, that's great. Bag it up, put it on your porch, and I'll come get it. And then I come get it, I bring it back, and I, do all the pricing, steaming, putting it out. And so people love that too. It's just a convenient. I try to make it convenient for people.
So do you charge for the styling or the pickup?
I personally do not. The way I see it, and I live by this rule, they are rewarding me by buying the product in my store. So if I'm styling, the way that they're repaying me is buying, the couple $1,000s worth of stuff that they're buying, if it's that much. So, or I'm just happy if they buy a bag full of stuff or, a couple of items. But for me, that comes with the territory. If you walk into my store, you're going to get a styling session / I'm going to try to sell you as much stuff that you can, that you need, that stuff that you'll actually wear and utilize. That's a pet peeve of mine, is to sell someone something that they're never going to wear or they're going to wear it once. Like I want it to be something you'll use and reuse again.
So are people buying, wearing it for a while and then bringing it back and saying, "Why don't you consign this? I want something else from you now."
Sometimes I shut it down. It depends on what it is. I don't love that because again, I've got that memory. So if Lindsay sends me a box of stuff back and I'm like, she bought this all for me. I'm like, I remember I've had it. I don't want to see it again. And so I'll usually tell people, there's some pieces that are unique and cool enough that I think I could resell it a second time. And if it's been long enough, but if it's been a month or 2 months, I usually tell people, I appreciate you, trying to give me the opportunity again, but I don't want to see this in the store again. Like I like to keep the inventory fresh and different, and I don't want to see it over and again, over again. And I know the clients don't want to either.
How much of it, I mean, this business that you're running is also very environmentally friendly, right? Because
Yes,
it's not fast fashion. It's people can come and you're like buying someone else's clothes. I think it's really great. So how much of that does plays into, I would say, your brand or your marketing? Do people come because of that? Do you find that that's exploding lately because people are more conscious of fast fashion? Or,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, I think that sustainability has a following. I had a girl yesterday here at the Nashville store that was down visiting from Michigan, and she drove straight into town, and I was her first stop. She had mapped out all the different resale stores, and she was like, yours was the first one I wanted to go to. So people literally, when they know they're going, and I do it, I'm guilty of, if I go to a new city, I'm like, where's the closest consignment stores? Or the closest thrift or buy sell trade. People specifically want to shop that way. There's just such an uprise in it. Um, it's a force to be reckoned with, I think.
And you're looking for pretty specific stuff. I would say you like unique pieces. You like pieces that stand out and that people can come in and get excited about. But I mean, I know Lindsay, she buys quality clothes. Like that's what she's all about. So it's not, I'm assuming you're not buying used H&M clothes and throwing it on the shelf. You're buying stuff that's gonna, people can come to you and get quality at, I'm guessing it's a better price than if they were
Yes.
gonna just go to the store.
Yes, I definitely quality, uniqueness. I try to take a lot of color, a lot of pattern. I love sequins. I love here in Nashville, we get a lot of sequins and fringe and just crazy stuff. I want it to be I don't want someone to come in just to buy a t-shirt. You can get a t-shirt anywhere. I really try to curate the store to be one of a kind pieces. I'd say Charleston, I'm definitely one of the edgier boutiques on King Street. A lot of the stores can be, cookie cutter, the same dress, 5 different colors in every boutique. And I really try to get the fun, funky pieces that you can't really get anywhere else. The standout stuff.
And how do you go about sourcing? Is it all coming from your clients? So people are bringing stuff to you. I know they're calling, you can pick up bags. But do you source from other places as well? Or is it mostly just all individual sourcing?
So I source when I go out of town. So, for example, I was in Texas last week for in Austin for a week, and there. So I have to be careful in my sourcing adventures because consignment, true blue consignment, like me, is not the price point isn't worth it. I'm not going to make anything on it. So I usually hit up the buy sell trade stores. So Buffalo Exchange is a popular one. Uptown Cheapskate, thrift stores. We did a visit to Round Top while I was there. So Round Top is a big, huge, 20-mile long, like flea market type situation. So I go where I can get the cool pieces, good prices, and then I flip them. So I supplement for the store when I'm out of town. But if I'm in Nashville, just here, on a stint working, it's all walk-in traffic. I obviously can't go supplement all the time because we'd run out of room. But when I opened Nashville, I literally opened the store with stuff for a month, I went all over Nashville, buy, sell trades and thrifts and bought stuff to just get that store open until people would start bringing stuff in. And so now that ball is rolling, I mean, we get sometimes 6 to 8 drop offs a day. It's crazy.
So how do you stay up on what people want? I mean, I know you want to have stuff in the store that's going to stand out, but you need stuff that's going to sell. So
Mhm.
how do you know what people want?
I think it's a gift that I have to know that'll sell. I think it's also social media, watching what people are wearing, the trends, what people are coming into the store wearing, what they're asking for. and just out in my surroundings, being out in the wild and seeing what girls are wearing and, knowing that when somebody brings stuff in that looks like that, I'm like, that's a hot trend right now. We need to take this, it'll sell. Um, but it's funny, the stuff that I buy that I supplement is some of the first stuff that I sell in the store. Like we'll put like I had a big box today that we priced from Texas of stuff I bought. And I'm like, that'll be gone within 2 weeks, all of that stuff that I bought. Cause it's just when it's like, that you can either one, tell someone how to wear this and style it. Or that it's going to be an attractive enough piece that somebody's going to want it and it's going to go home with somebody. And I love the stories of where it came from and where it's going. I keep track of that sometimes in my head. I'm like, who brought this in? And like, it's like the life of a piece of clothing. Who brought it in and who's taking it home?
Is that something that you share with clients sometimes if it's a really cool piece?
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, I got a huge drop off from a country singer that lives here, and a couple of the pieces I would tell the person buying it, just wanted you to know this belonged to blah blah blah, and people get so excited, and it's like they're like, I'm never gonna get it. Yeah, but yes, I do share. There was one instance in Nashville where I got a drop off from it was a husband who had lost his wife, sad. And one of my really good client friends here bought 2 or 3 of her dresses, and I told her, I was like, "This makes me so happy." I was like, "You're almost honoring her life. You're buying these amazing pieces that, she no longer has." And so just show, and there's all kinds of stories like that. It's fun to kind of keep up with it and pay attention.
So that if you know, and the she just kind of went for it and took the risk. Where does all that come from, and what do people need to do if they're gonna? I mean, I operate very similarly to you. Is a lot of my stuff is my gut. People say, "How on earth could you choose to do that?" And I go, "Well, I don't know. I just kind of felt like it was the right idea."
Hmm.
And a little bit of crazy to just jump off the ledge and try something. But where do people find that within themselves if they want to trust their gut, go with their instincts, say they got this passion about this? That's the hardest thing for a lot of people is that first step.
Yeah. I always say it's like you can't fail unless you try. And at the time that I opened the store, I wasn't married yet. I was still pretty, decently young. And I'm like, what do I have to lose? If I open the store, everybody thought it was crazy. If I open it and it fails or it goes under, you know what? I can check that off the bucket list that I tried. But I think true entrepreneurs have a drive in them that if you ask me if I was going to fail, I'm like, that's not an option. Like, I'm not going to, I'm going to do everything I can to make this business succeed and to watch it grow. I think it's just taking the aspect of being scared and I think that people also need a good support system around them to push them to do it. Cause it is a scary thing I quit my job, no benefit, no paid vacation anymore, no 9 to 5. Like I literally am on call every day. And if there's a fire to put out, I have to do it. Everything falls on my back. So I think it's just having cheerleaders in your corner that's like, you should do this. You would just do so well with this and just giving it a try and giving it a go. Cause you can always go back to what you were doing before. I could have went back to banking if I failed. I mean, I can always get a job at a bank. So it's just doing it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just recorded a podcast on somebody else's podcast about real estate investing yesterday, and they asked me how I got started and this and that, and I go, the reality is my dad, when I was 20 or something, I may have said this on the podcast in the past, but he was just like, "Well, we don't own anything except for houses, so you better buy one, right?" So I'm like, "All right." And they're like, "Well, how did you take that leap?" I'm like, "Well, I literally had nothing to lose. Like, I could
Yeah.
have lost the house, but I had basically no money in my name. Countrywide was handing out loans to anybody at the time, and kind of ignorance was bliss. And
Yeah.
you know, I didn't have the analysis paralysis because I knew almost nothing. I knew that the rent coming in was bigger than the mortgage. That was all I knew at the time.
Right.
I just leapt.
Yeah. I think you have to follow your passion because I think I still walk into the store. I work today for like 2 or 3 hours and I still walk in excited, what do we have in here new? Who's going to come in today? What drop off? Like just knowing, that you still love what you do every day and it doesn't get old.
And Kristen, what do you see in the future? Many more stores? Are there some other things that you're plotting that you could give us spill the tea on?
I think my main plan is to have a store in Austin, which we said earlier. And now with this new store opening, Tempo, I feel like if it does well in Charleston, then I can branch off and do a Tempo Nashville and a Tempo Austin. And so every city would have, it's almost like the big sister, little sister type deal. So that's I don't know that I kind of picked my favorite three cities that I visit all the time, which is Austin, Charleston, I lived in, and Nashville. And that's my three favorite cities that I was like, I gotta have a store in each one. And they're also very similar cities. And you can't just put a store like mine in any city. It's got to make sense. It's got to be a very heavy tourist based city. And you have to have a good combination of, are you going to get good clothing and people bringing you stuff? Slash, are you going to get shoppers, people coming in to buy it? It's got to be a heavy mix of both.
Mm. And before you opened in those other locations, was it something that besides the location you live in, was that a place that you visited often to see that? Were you like scouring the streets to see like where's the foot traffic
Never.
or no?
Well, I
Mm.
went through some life changes in Charleston and I decided I needed to move out of Charleston and do a different scenery, new chapter. And I never ever wanted to have another store anywhere else. It was always just Charleston and one location. Because a couple people in the past have said, you should do a second location in Charleston. And I'm like, I'm downtown. You can't get to me. Like I'm literally in the middle of everything. And so I grew up about 2 hours from Nashville. But I started coming back and forth a lot more within the last 5 to 8 years. And the city just is very alive. And I saw the need for consignment. There's not a lot of consignment here. There's a lot of thrift, but not what I do. And so I decided to make the leap. I was like, I'm going to do this. So I came back and forth for 6 months, trying to find where I was going to put my location and landed on where I'm at in the nations. And then have loved it ever since, and it's taken off. So it's great.
So I've had businesses with team members, and Lindsay and I had multiple salons at a time. And I've always put a lot of trust in my team members, but I've also always been very close to them. Like if I need to go drive and see what they're doing, I'm able to do that. Mm. I mean, I guess you technically can, but you've got it's not a 30-minute drive for you to get from one place to the next. One, are they buying also? Do you have trusted people that you trust to buy clothes to bring into the stores? And then two, how do you reach that next level? And I think it is a next level of entrepreneurship to get beyond that. You can't feel, touch, see every single thing that's happening in your business.
I've had to literally learn to be okay with that because I am very involved in the business. I think I have an amazing team in Charleston, and I've taught the manager that runs that store. Her and I are very close. We talk all day. And I trust her. I'm almost have turned into a mentor for her. It's been very therapeutic for me to take a backseat role and to let them to just say, they got it. They know what to do. They know the processes. They've been taught. Now, obviously, they'll have questions that pop up and they'll call me, periodically. But to let go of that reign and let them handle it and just run the store it's been a very interesting process for me. But obviously, I check in, and I definitely have a pulse on what's going on. And, when I come into town, it's like, oh, here comes the boss. We got to get it all together, but I'm very proud of them. They do a really good job. You wouldn't think consignment is a high stress store. It's such a high stress store. I mean, there's so many details. Everything has to be detailed. So they do, I think it's just in being trained the right way and then trusting them to do what they're supposed to do.
I think the funny thing is there's a lot of businesses that, you go, oh, that wouldn't be high stress, but I think all businesses are high stress.
Oh, yes.
It's all people and, you have your product, but the product's often the easy thing because that's what you love. That's what that's the predictable thing. And then you have the people and then, ta-
Right.
taxes and paperwork and all this stuff, that, you flip through Entrepreneur Magazine or whatever, and you think everybody's just going out for cocktails every day if they're an entrepreneur. And
Right.
the reality is you're grinding.
Yes. I was gonna say, people have a misconception of like, oh, she's about to have 3 locations, you just must not. And I'm like, no, it's literally nonstop. I literally wake up working, my brain is running. I go to bed, brain running and working. It's just this, it's the life of a business person for sure.
Well, Kristen, Harper, that's my daughter's name. Lindsay does not listen to the podcast often. Mainly, I think because I'm a part of it, and she gets to listen to me enough. She refused to listen to the episode she was on, but she told me ahead of time that she's going to listen to this one because you're on it.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Also, Tony, I mean, listen, Harper is going to be a client of Kristen's very soon, I'm sure.
I'd be willing to bet that Harper has already worn clothes made from Ensemble because she has been stealing Lindsay's clothes like crazy now. They're very similar size at this point.
Kristen's
love
like,
the
wait,
whole-
I have her Venmo.
I know. I love the whole concept of that, of having a client who has, children, and you watch the children grow up. And like, even in Charleston, I've got one of my good friends, her daughter wants to work for me now. But you literally, it's crazy to think about the graduation of having the mother's clothes and then her daughters grow up and then you take the daughters on as a client. It's amazing, that cycle of just the whole family clientele, dynamics. And even people that move away from Charleston and they're like, I like consigning with Kristen so much that I'm going to people ship me stuff all the time. Lindsay shipped me stuff before. It's just, it feels good to be able for people to trust you. You work hard to build that relationship, that reputation, and for people to trust you to do that.
Yeah, I've had that in businesses that I've had where you get parent and then kid and then
Yep.
sometimes even grandkid. And it is cool because it's one thing for someone else to call you up and put their trust in you again or come be your client again. There's definitely a big piece of that. But it's even another level to say, I trust you enough that I'm going to have my family
Yeah.
into you now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't keep track of all of Lindsay's clothes, but you might think this is kind of cool. So in addition to, she obviously consigns some of the clothes she buys,
Hmm.
when she's done using them. But she also has, in the past, she has brought bags of clothes. She coaches high school and junior high volleyball. And she'll just bring bags of clothes and let the girls go through them and take the clothes home.
I love that. Yeah, it's awesome.
They
Free for
must
all.
be, yeah, they must be happy. That sounds,
Yeah. That's awesome.
well, I think you have 2 clients here, and I think I'm about to be the 3rd because I'm already eyeing up this jacket on your Instagram. So
Creeping on it.
yep, already on it. But thank you so much, Kristen, for joining us. I love everything that you're about. I love your focus on customer service and sustainability. No surprise that you're successful, although you work very, very hard for it. So thank you so much for joining us. And
Absolutely.
if you
Yeah, and
enjoyed this
everybody, go back and listen to this episode and take notes. We were kind of moving right along. Lots of times I'll loop back to things, but there are some nuggets in here that if you want to, one, be a successful business owner, but just, I think, successful in life, like I drew a bunch of lines under the don't be complacent kind of a thing. But, there's
Yeah.
a lot of nuggets in here that were out there that I think that if you go back and listen and take some notes, you're going to be happy to implement into your life.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, if you love this episode as much as we did, you can rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. And we'll see you next time on Drip Trickle Flow Flood. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.